We're live.
Hello, everyone. If everyone would take a seat, please, it would be helpful. And please turn off your cell phones. That would be also very helpful, so it doesn't disturb the voice going to the TV at home, and people can hear here also. So if everybody will take a moment, and Sarah?
Stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment. Thank you.
We're going to say a little prayer. Dear Lord, please give our leaders the ability to stop this killing all over the world. Please, God, give us peace, give us empathy, give us respect for one another. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. I want to introduce the people. Yeah. Okay, I'd like to introduce, unfortunately, Rosemary Panio is not here this afternoon. She's not well. She took a fall, so she's recuperating. She knows what's going on. We're trying to take very good minutes so that we could get back to her, and she knows exactly what we've done without her here and the decisions we've made. But anyway, hopefully she'll be with us next month. Okay, I'd like to introduce the board members.
Francis McVitie.
Jenny Menton.
Deborah Marks, I'm your liaison to the Assembly Office.
Maria Fama. Noreen O'Driscoll.
Joe Falcone, Recreation Commission Liaison.
Serafina Masco, back here.
Serafina has been a tremendous help because we really tried to throw this whole thing together. Is Tommy Diana here?
Yes.
I'd like to bring Tom Diana up to say a few words. He only has a few words, he tells me, that he's going to say because he's got to run.
That's all I'm allowed. That's assault. All right, we have a police officer back.
Oh.
Anyway, I just wanted to say hello to everybody. Thank you, folks, for everything. You got me for another 2 years. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much, and I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. May it be a joyous one, and enjoy your families, and enjoy the day. And try not to eat too much turkey. Okay? That's all I got for today.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and I want to thank everybody on this board for what they do. Sarah, it's a wonderful organization. I know Ed was just able to pop in, so I know he's got some turkeys to be running around, and not Tom Turkey. Okay, so he's. I know there are. Okay, thank you, folks. Have a great Thanksgiving.
I know you're on the run. Did you want to say something quickly? All right. We're going to go out of order a little bit because these guys are so darn busy, and their time is pretty valuable. I'm happy they're giving us a few minutes here.
Look, it's a pleasure to come before the seniors. As you know, I deal with quite a few in town. Maybe even my wife might be on that cusp too. No, I wanted to come and say thank you. Fortunately, I have the pleasure of being able to run around some turkeys today for the food banks with the Lions. We were doing a big turkey drive, raised over 240 turkeys, plus money for the food banks for Christmas time as well, as they've been getting hit very hard. So I have to bring over 30 or 40 birds to the Presbyterian Church right now. But I want to say thank you, wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. And I also wanted to just reach out to the senior advisory and Noreen. We have one more drop-off on Monday at the gazebo from 10 to 2. So if you know of any seniors in need of turkey for the season, please let me know. We should have a few birds that we're able to donate through and pass on. I think both Noreen and Jenny, you have my phone number, and I think most everyone here does. Please feel free to reach out. If you have any, get me an address, and I'll deliver personally, okay?
And if you want to let them know about the breakfast on Sunday?
Oh, thank you, yes. I actually will only be there for setup, but this Sunday is the Sons of the American Legion breakfast at the American Legion Post 1009 on Veterans Road. It is $10 per person. It runs 9 to 11. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet. We have 2 types of eggs, 2 types of pancakes. We have hash browns, sausage, corned beef hash, bacon, and home-fried potatoes, along with coffee and juice. I don't think you get a glass of orange juice anymore when you go out for $10. So it's a really, really great deal. So anyone who'd like to go, please just show up at the Legion post, and they will make sure they get you set up. The second and the eighth,
I think he's doing it. I was saying about the Christmas parade.
Okay, and Supervisor Diana asked me to remind everyone, too, the Electric Lights Parade is on the 2nd with the rain date of the 3rd, and then the lighting of the Shrubbo Christmas tree at the library the following weekend with the 9th or the 10th as a rain date. 2 very fun things. You can find information out on the town website, and the Electric Lights Parade is on this side, and then you're the other side. I'm done, Serafina? All right, Serafina just gave me the hook. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thank you, Ed.
Serafina, would you like to introduce Rick?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to introduce.
You have to come up by the mic.
Okay, I would like to introduce Rick Davin, who's the chief of the Ambulance Corps in Yorktown Heights. Come on up, Chief. I've known the chief for a long time, but he doesn't know me because I know his wife, Rosemary, that I count money. I used to count money with Rosemary at the rectory.
Good afternoon. I think we're here today more so to answer your questions, but certainly I can give you a few tips that we look for. And I'm here actually representing both Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps, which covers everything on the north side of town, Jefferson Village and all of Lexington Ave, Route 6. They cover that side. And Yorktown Ambulance, which we pretty much cover the south side. We're both experiencing the highest call volumes. I know for Yorktown alone, for YVAC, this is our highest year call volume in 60 years, our 60 years. We just celebrated 60 years this year. The month of October was our highest month in 60 years. We did over 160 calls, transported 110 people to the hospital. So some of the tips that I can give you, and then I'll certainly take questions, is we are primarily, both Mohegan and us, a 911 service. So when you're looking for us, it's for an emergency, not for a health check or any kind of condition like that. We have 3 ambulances. Mohegan has 3. On any given day or time of the week, we may have all 3 ambulances out going 3 different ways. So when we get tied up with someone who's really not needing 911 or immediate transport to a hospital, that prevents us from going to a CPR in progress, a stroke, or something else. We have to carry, we go for a mutual aid ambulance, which may come from Somers, may come from Ossining, somewhere else, which is just a travel delay in getting that help to either you or one of your loved ones who really needs the immediate service. So we do ask, I guess there was a perception, there's been a perception that if you come into the hospital in an ambulance, you get treated quicker and faster and better, and you actually do not. We bring a person in the stretcher, we meet the charge nurse there, she triages verbally, we give her a report, and I can tell you on many occasions, they'll have us put the person in a wheelchair and roll them out to the waiting room because it's a non-priority. They've been, the last several months, all the 2 main hospitals we cover, Northern Westchester and Peekskill Hospital, the New York Presbyterian, have beds out in the hallways. That's how busy they are. So they may move you to a bed. You may be there 4 or 6 hours until they'll triage you until they can actually start treatment. So it's the myth is not there that you're going to get treated quicker if you come in an ambulance. Certainly urgent cares in town take care of a lot of that load. So if you think it's something urgent care can handle, and we do calls to urgent care when urgent care has someone come in. Certainly if you're having chest pain or something that you know could be serious, we've had patients drive themselves past the hospital to come into Yorktown to go to urgent care, and urgent care calls and says they got to go back. You know, if you think it's serious and you have the ability or someone to drive you, go right to the hospital. I mean, you could save yourself 10, 15 minutes in that time getting you in immediate care. The only other tip I have for you is anyone, yourself or anyone in your family who's on any kind of medications, keep an accurate, up-to-date medication list and keep 2 copies of it, because I can't tell you how many times we're there and they show us a bag of bottles and we have to go down and record them, and some of them are stuff they used to take, some of them is current meds. That all makes a difference in what the paramedic's going to do as far as treatment. He's got to know your allergies and everything else. So if you have your current med list for both you, your husband, or anyone else in the family, that you have one for each that you can actually give to us and we actually give to the hospital. So the doctor has a accurate, up-to-date med list of your medications and any existing medical conditions. Will greatly speed up our ability to package you, take you out the door, and not sit down there and copy things. One for each member of your family, as I said. Medical alerts, if you have the medical alerts, and Lieutenant Copeman may give you that advice as well. If you have a medical alert and you're hitting the button or you hit it by accident, certainly when the police are going to call you first, pick up the phone and tell them it's a false alarm, because you're getting a medic, a full crew, and the police responding. And if it's a situation where it was hit accidentally, that's fine, but you don't need all of us coming lights and sirens to that location. And that's all I had, unless anyone had any other questions. Safina.
I have a question. I had a neighbor who had an accident right across the street from me, and I was there to help them and we called the ambulance. And New York Presbyterian Hospital, the ambulance came, and they were going to send him, because he had fractured some ribs, and they were going to send him to New York Presbyterian, but the ambulance driver, or I don't know what you would call him, medic, said no, because the New York Presbyterian is not a trauma hospital. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when you have an accident like that, you have to go to a trauma hospital, and the nearest one is Westchester Medical.
Right. And that's actually a good question. A lot of times we'll have a patient tell us, I need to go to Northern Westchester, that's where all my doctors are. On a Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock, your doctors are not there in the hospital. You're going to be seen by an emergency room physician. They're going to triage you like anyone else. You will most likely, unless you get admitted, won't see your doctors. Our goal is to get you immediate care to a doctor and nursing staff. So our medic and our EMTs will make a decision as to what, depending on the severity of the call, you may need to go to the closest, nearest hospital. Stroke, not all the hospitals are capable of taking stroke patients. So we have to check with the hospital. We call the hospital before we go there and determine either which one's got the MRI available, and if they don't, we have to go to the next hospital. Any major accident, any accident involving airbag deployment, any falls of over 10 feet or greater, they're all going to go to the trauma center, which is Westchester Medical Center, per our protocols. We have protocols with the state of New York that dictate under certain conditions we have to go to a trauma center. And in those cases, you go right into a trauma room, and I can tell you there's 20 doctors, nurses, staff, all there waiting in a trauma room. And they're very busy there, but they'll get you in, treat you, and get you to the correct areas that you need to go for treatment.
Do we have any other questions from our people?
Just quick, because we were told a couple of meetings ago that if we're having a stroke, that it's better to call you than have somebody drive you. Is that true?
That's true. If you think you're having a stroke, we can have a medic there quicker who's going to administer some medication and help determine if it's an actual stroke, and then we will get you to a hospital. But certainly, if you're in a condition, I mean, don't drive yourself. If you're in a condition where you think your senses may be compromised, and don't delay, because you could hit the paving traffic on 202, and it could be a 30-minute drive. So absolutely, if you feel it's a life-threatening illness, dial 911, and they'll get us there. Thank you.
You know, this was about 6 years ago. I was in, that was when I
woman, oh, would she help me? And after a couple of minutes, she said, oh, you know, I should maybe call an ambulance for you. And I said, oh, all right. So she called, I guess it was you, your ambulance, you know, and they came, checked me, and then put me in the ambulance and took me down to,
Westchester.
Westchester.
what do you call it?
The Medical Center, Northern Westchester or Hudson Valley?
Hudson Valley, and I was there for about 3 hours. And then they said, for some reason, they transferred me then to Westchester Medical. I don't know, was it because, as you can see, I'm, you know, not.
All the hospitals have,
With speaking, I get a little
Yep.
frustrated.
as they do their triage, they may determine that there's a higher care necessary that they can't administer, or their CAT scan may be down, and we go there, they get the immediate attention, and they've stabilized you enough to now transfer you to a higher level medical authority. So all the hospitals do that. Even the medical center in Valhalla will transfer people into Manhattan to specialized care. So another thing to remind you, we're your advocate. We're a patient advocate, so we're there to help you. So in a case where we may come there, the first thing we're going to do is establish a set of vitals to determine and talk to you what's going on. We may say everything looks good. If you still want to go, that's your choice. If you don't want to go, we do not force people. We'll have you sign that maybe we said, and in many cases, people, we make a determination you should probably be seen by a doctor, and people think, well, I'm okay, I don't need to go. We can't, only the YPD can handcuff you and take you forcefully. We cannot do that. We do not do that. We're your patient advocate. We will highly recommend if we think you should be going, and sometimes people just don't want to leave the home. They're fearful of leaving the home, and you know, our best efforts are 3 or 4 times, you need to go, you need to go, you need to go. Police will help us with the same, and if you don't go, you got a sign that's saying, we offered, we encouraged you, we told you the consequences, but we can't force a family member or something unless they're mentally impaired and you have the ability. Last thing on DNRs and or do not resuscitates, if you have a family member that has that, it has to be a form signed, a New York State form signed. It's bright orange, so that if you have an elderly person in the house and they're on in some sort of condition where you don't want extraordinary means carried on, you need to have that paper handy, and you need to, when we come in the door, say that we can't start CPR and then you say, oh, we just found the thing. Once we've started life-saving, we've got to do it all the way until someone's pronounced. So if that's someone's wishes that they don't want to be intubated or they don't want to have CPR, please have that form in a readily available place for your loved ones so that we don't have to get into a situation where you're saying, we have a signed form, we don't know where it is. We can't go on that. We need to have the paperwork because we actually give that paperwork to the hospital. And same case, if you take someone to the hospital and you have those wishes, you should bring it with you and give it to the hospital so they know. Yes?
I'd like to get a clarification because some people say they don't like to call the ambulance because they have to pay for it. So I think there's some confusion. Some insurances pay, some don't, some of it is volunteer. Could you clarify that, please?
Sure. We, Yorktown Ambulance and Mohegan Ambulance, are staffed by primarily volunteers. We both supplement now a great deal of our shifts with paid EMTs. Both of us fundraise. Neither of us are supported by taxes in any way. So we fundraise and we survive by what we get from the insurance companies for transports. So yes, we do bill when we transport you. I can't speak for Mohegan, but Yorktown Ambulance, our operating budget is about $1.5 million a year with no tax subsidy. So Yorktown Fire and Mohegan Fire have a tax district where you pay taxes to support that. The paramedics in Yorktown are paid for by the town. So that was brought in 20 years ago we're the first community in Westchester to have full-time paid paramedics. So the paramedics are in the tax district. They're paid. We have 2 paramedics from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, and 1 on the overnight covering both Yorktown and Mohegan volunteers.
So if someone is unable to, whatever the fee might be for the ambulance, how does that work?
We both have different billing agencies. They work with you and try to come to some agreement.
Thank you.
We do not send it to collections. Okay.
Well, if there are not any other questions, I want to thank you
Okay.
for being with us.
Thank you.
You so much. I'd like to ask Wendy McNamara to come up, and she's from our New York Presbyterian Hospital, and she's going to introduce our next speaker. Before she gets up there, I want to also thank them because they've provided our lunch for us today, which they do at every meeting, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
We're so happy, and we're so happy to be here. I want to pass these. We have an interactive exercise for the board members to participate in when Lamar's finished talking. If you just take one and pass it down to the different. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hi. It's so nice to see you. Happy November. If you don't know me already, my name is Wendy McNamara. I'm the Community Affairs Coordinator at New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital. I would like to thank the board for all that they do and for having us here once again to speak. New York Presbyterian Hospital is your community hospital, serving the heart of the Hudson Valley community with specialties in cardiology, cancer care, orthopedics, digestive health, interventional radiology, obstetrics, and gynecology. And now I have a very special speaker for you. It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, my colleague Lamar Duncan. Lamar is the radiology manager at NYP Hudson Valley. He is a seasoned radiology manager with over 15 years of experience specializing in CT imaging. His expertise is particularly fitting for leading a CT lung cancer program, reflecting a strong background in the field. His dedication to the intricacies of radiology has made a lasting impact on the healthcare industry. Also, because November is Lung Cancer Awareness Month, we thought it especially important that Lamar come and speak to you. In addition, I want to thank all the veterans for their service. November is Veterans Day, is November 11th, which of course I would know because it's also my birthday. So it's especially impactful for me, but we really do appreciate what the veterans have done and continue to do in service, selfless service of our country. Lamar is a dedicated veteran, having served 10 years, with 2 of those years spent in Iraq for Operation Freedom. Without much further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Lamar Duncan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Much appreciated, and happy Veterans Day, or belated Veterans Day. I wanted to tackle, because as I was listening, some of you had some questions about stroke, and I wanted to address some of those concerns as well, because Hudson Valley Hospital is now a designated stroke center where we can do a CAT scan, we can do MRIs, and we can do the interventional procedures as well to combat and stop those bleedings within the brain. In the past, that the throughput from beginning to end wasn't available. It is now available. So we are a designated stroke. So we treat you on this. We take images and we treat you on the spot.
Okay, good.
And then there was another question about trauma. You typically want to go to a Trauma One hospital depending on the level of trauma. However, if your closest hospital is Hudson Valley to treat you, what we can do is treat you, stabilize you, and then transfer you out to a Trauma One. All right?
Okay.
I'm here today. It's Lung Cancer Awareness Month, and I wanted to talk to you about our lung cancer screening program that we have within the New York Presbyterian enterprise. It's an outfit that combines all of the New York Presbyterian sites. So if you're closer to Brooklyn, if you're closer to Manhattan, if you're closer to Westchester, we steer you to the hospital sites that perform low-dose CAT scan within that area. What is cancer? We talk about cancer every day. What is cancer, right? Cancer is the result of an uncontrolled growth and division of abnormal cells. And we have to catch that early and treat those cells so that it doesn't metastasize and become something bigger and spread to the rest of your body. Lung cancer doesn't typically show signs and symptoms, so you want to catch that at a very, very early stage. That's why this program is very, very important. The U.S. Preventative Service Task Force recommends that annual screening for lung cancer using a low-dose chest CT. A low-dose chest CT, we say chest CT, we say low dose. It's because the dose that you're getting from the radiation is very minimal. It's less than a day at the beach.
Okay.
So it's very intricate. Here are some of the criteria for you to enter into the lung cancer screening program. If your age is 50 through 80, and at least a 20-pack year smoking history, or a current smoker, or have previously smoked. If you meet any of these criteria, we recommend that you visit your primary care physician. Your primary care physician will then issue you a referral. A referral is something like a script, and you can use that script to go to the hospital, or we're passing around cards. You can always call and fax in your referral, and someone will reach out to you, and they'll schedule a visit. It can be either via phone, it can be either through a video conference, or through an in-person visit. Sure, absolutely.
Is there a priority to those? In other words, if I'm, say, over 80, but I did smoke, so therefore, does the fact that you're over 80 just close you out of that screening program?
So you're asking, if you're over 80, does that negate you from the screening program? Right.
No, because you listed that. So
Yes,
I
yes.
That was the first thing.
Yeah, that is, thank you for that. That's a great question. You would not be eligible for the program. However, through your primary care physician, you still can schedule a low-dose CT, and they can follow up on that with the results. The radiologist would read that. They give you something called a lung rad, and CT is it's one of the smartest inventions that was ever invented out there. They do a CAT scan, and the doctor can hover over a cursor on your chest, on that image, and determine whether or not you have cancer, to simplify it. So even if you're not in the program, you can still have a CAT scan. I think you look younger than 29. Once you have that televisit, there's a coordinator that will determine your eligibility, and then will schedule you for a CAT scan. That CAT scan can be within, close proximity to where you live, so you don't have to go out your way and travel far. That is also followed up with a communication by our team. Our team will communicate with you as well as to your primary care physician whether or not you have cancer. And then they'll follow up with your treatment and how you should go forward with that. That is through maybe oncology and whatever other series of tests that your primary care would schedule. I do want to give you do you know topics. I love these do you know topics, right? Lung cancer screening remains the leading cause of cancer death in men and women. Did we know that?
No, but that's true.
Nationally, only 26.6% of these cases are diagnosed at an early stage. That's why we need to catch these things.
No.
And consulting your primary care physician, getting into the program, getting these things diagnosed early, getting early treatment can save your life. Lung cancer screening has saved 80,000, and I like to read this because this one is very detailed. Lung cancer screening has saved 80,000 additional years of life, leading to 40 million in savings, which would increase to 500,000 additional years of life and 500 million if all those eligible have been screened. And under the new guidelines, 19.3 million people are eligible for the lung cancer screening program, and they don't know it. I did give out some cards of, these are x-rays, and I just wanted to show you the difference. If you believe that one of them is a normal chest x-ray, the other one is a patient with cancer. If you believe you are given the one with a patient with cancer, you can hold that one up. If not, you can put that down. Face it to the audience so everyone can see. All right.
I can't see, Jeff.
You believe okay?
Is it?
Well, is this the right one because of this here?
No, actually, that's just air in the stomach.
Oh, I see. Well, then what about up in here, like?
That's your apices. That's normal.
Okay, so this is a normal X-ray.
That is a normal X-ray.
Does anybody have one that's?
I don't know. Is
Mine
this
abnormal?
You have one that's abnormal. That's normal. You also have one that's abnormal, and you also have one that's abnormal.
Let's see yours. Look it up.
And right here, and I'm just gonna briefly kind of show you what that looks like.
I don't know.
See, I thought
These cotton-like.
Me too, see?
These cotton-like white features is actually cancer of the lungs.
Oh.
The one that you have, as you can see, if you hold it up, that one is just clear black. There's not this cotton-like feature within the lungs. That's how yes.
Is that why they call it a nodule? Is that a nodule, or is that different from a nodule?
So you're asking if that's why they call it a nodule? Yes,
Or
that
is
is
it a
correct.
nodule?
That is correct.
Okay.
Great question, by the way. Fantastic question. Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What do I see next?
All right, we're giving out some flyers. We gave out some cards, and there's some rack cards. There's a QR code on one of those paperwork. It's very simple to use. You scan your phone over it. It'll give you directions on how to. That correct? There's a QR code on the rack card as well. And there's also another paperwork that we're handing out that there's a QR code. If you're going to take a picture of it, it'll prompt you, and you click yes, and it'll take you to the lung cancer screening program. That's correct. So if there's any information, if you need to read up on a lung cancer screening program, there's a lot of information, useful information within those flyers.
Okay.
And that's all I have. Any questions?
Frank?
I do. What would be a first sign of lung cancer? Would it be a continuing cough? Like, what should you look for besides going for this screening?
Here's the thing about cancer. It reacts to everyone a little bit differently, right? One, you can show no signs of symptoms, and two, you can show signs and symptoms. Cough, you could have pain, you could have some bleeding. Those could all be signs and symptoms of lung cancer.
I have another question.
CT and X-ray is the only true way to find out by going into the program, talking to your primary care. Your primary care might take an X-ray or a CAT scan, but once you're in the program, it's a CAT scan. There's usually a series of follow-up. So let's say you have two types of cancer. You have benign, you have malignant. Malignant cancer is the one that you want to be careful for because that can metastasize through the rest of your body. However, a benign, you want to monitor that so that it doesn't change over to and become metastasize. Right? And then.
Oh, that's a hard question.
So actually, that's a great question. So if you have lung infection, so can the lung infection become cancer? My answer to that is no. Lung infection is usually treated through antibiotics and so forth, but that. You want to keep monitoring that, but that doesn't normally typically turn over to be cancer.
Every case is different.
How come you never get better? How the hell do you know?
Oh, that's fantastic question. Right? Everybody is a little bit resistant. Some folks are resistant to the antibiotics that we have available. So there's a possibility he could have been resistant to the antibiotics that was there as well. So the best thing to do when it comes to your care, second opinions.
Right.
Get second opinions, and follow through with those cares.
Do we have any other questions out there? Oh.
Hi.
Hello. Not every question is stupid, right?
That's correct.
So, when, if ever, do you believe that there will be a cure for cancer?
If they don't already have one out there somewhere, right?
Well, we didn't want to say that because, people say this and that and the other.
Will there be a cure for cancer? With modern technology, yes. Look at the AIDS epidemic that was out there. We never found a cure, but we have discovered medication that can suppress it to the point where it's undetectable. So there might be a time where it comes where there's a possibility where it can be wiped out. They're treating it with radiation right now, which radiation can change the molecules in the cells, and that kills the cancer, especially if you catch it early. So yes, I think that possibility with the advancement of technology, we might be able to find a cure, amongst other diseases as well. Hi.
If someone has been exposed to secondhand smoke for 20, 30 years, is that also a high risk that should be considered or looked at?
I would definitely want to look at that. It wouldn't be for the program, but you definitely want to consult your primary care physician, because remember, cancer is cumulative. It's the radiational dose that you get throughout your entire life years, right? So if you're exposed to secondhand smoke, if you've been in the sun, if you're close to radon and you never tested your basements for radon, there's a chance that you can catch cancer. Also, body genes. Some people are not prone to get cancer. Some people are more prone to cancer. So absolutely, I would want to get checked for that as well. When I go to my primary care, I say, hey, check me for everything. Test me.
Yeah, sure. Just one last question. Sure. Is there a blood work that will give you some insight if you might have it, or no such thing?
Good question. Is there blood work? I don't specifically know the answer to that, yes, but I will say yes, there is. There is blood work out there that can detect certain things. So yes, my answer to that would be yes.
Okay.
90% sure.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yes.
Quick question for you, Lamar. As far as lung cancer, besides getting part of the program, besides if you had smoked X 20 packs in a year, are there any signs people should be looking for that might indicate they should go get checked out for lung cancer?
An easy one, difficulty breathing. You want to, if you're having difficulty breathing, check in with your PCP. He'll start with an x-ray and then move on there from a CAT scan. If they see something on the CAT scan, especially if you are in one of these categories, then he'll advise you to enter a lung cancer screening program. Great question.
Well, I think we really had some great questions.
Yes.
It was very, very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for having me. Appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
our next speakers, I'd like to invite Detective Tommy Nordowski, I don't think I pronounced that right, and Lieutenant Tim Coltman to the mic here.
To the podium.
So that would be Detective Tommy and Lieutenant Tim to come on up.
Hi.
Is he out here? Or?
Yes. He's down there. He's coming up.
That's Lieutenant Coleman.
Okay.
Coleman. And this is Detective.
It's pronounced Odorsky.
Say that again.
It's an Ellis Island.
Odorsky.
You ruined my name.
You have to.
That's why so many people change it.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I mean.
You don't want to know.
Say that.
Oh, we got a
What do you get?
Now, what are these?
Thank you.
Flashlights?
It's a pen.
Oh, it's wow.
I'll trade you an X-ray for
An X-ray for a pen? That works for me. There you are. Want me to give those back to them, or is that theirs?
I have no use
Thank
for
you very much.
Thank you.
The podium is yours.
Or, no, he's the detective.
Oh. And you're Lieutenant Tim? Oh, and that's detective, okay. Good, thank you. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
How about you in the back? You good? You're good? Okay, great, great. I'll try to make this short, although I could be here all day talking about fraud and scams, etc.
You're going to treat to dinner, I mean.
I'll keep it short and sweet.
No problem.
Who in here thinks they've been a victim of a scam
Oh, I know it.
or an attempted scam?
Anne should raise her hand.
Every one of you can raise your hands. Just go right ahead because it's true. You may not even know it. You get it, phone calls, knock at your doors, encounters at the grocery store, in the parking lot. Unfortunately, a lot of those times, those are people trying to rip you off. All right. And folks our age, and I'll include myself into that category, are coming after us with a vengeance because we are the nice generation. We are the generation with the money, and we tend to believe people and what they say, right? And they take advantage of us by doing it that way. So I gave you some handouts about a few things that we've come across recently. Lieutenant Colquhoun and I were just talking about it. We probably get a scam attempt or an identity theft every single day in this town. And there's many ways they go about doing it, and they're very convincing. If they did this for a real job, if they put that effort towards a real job, they could make a good living. Yeah. But it's just not local people. And majority of the time, it's not local people. It's people from outside of Yorktown, outside of New York State, and most of the time outside of the country. That'll call you, get you on your computer, things like that. So who here has a smartphone? Everyone? Just about everyone. iPad,
I have a phone.
computer at home?
Smartphone.
Okay. All right. So you're definitely susceptible to scams, right? Even emails. We'll talk a little bit about emails. If everyone has an email or a Facebook account, you stay connected to family and friends that way. It's a tough world out there. So the latest one I'm getting, I'll go over a couple of ones that we had in the past month or so that actually made the paper. We're going to go over the home and property title fraud. Most of us at our ages, we own our homes, right? The FBI is calling this a house stealing scam. And what goes on is that people are actually stealing your identity. Get your name and date of birth and your home address. Takes about 5 seconds on the internet, right? If I know your name, I could probably, or know your address, I can just punch that address in and maybe find out who bought the house. It's in Yorktown, so I would go to my town clerk, right, and say, I am so-and-so. Here's a form that they made up online about a deed transfer, right? Fake notary, fake signature, fake ID card. Just walk into the clerk and say, I'm going to transfer my deed over to my son. Here's all the form is, and off to go. There may be a little bit more to that, but I think that a lot of places across the country, according to the FBI, that's all it takes. And next thing you know, you think you have your house, and next thing someone's knocking on your door because you took out $200,000 loan on your mortgage, and they want you to pay it back. And now it's up to you to fight it. All right, so everything I talk about is for you to keep an eye on, right? Your property, your bank accounts, your credit cards, your titles and deeds to property, things like that. So how do you do that? Your credit reports are good. Be in contact with your branch managers at your bank. Get familiar with them because you'll see them a lot. Go down and talk to them about your accounts, suspicious activity that goes on in your bank accounts, on your credit cards. If you have more than 2 or 3 credit cards, it can get kind of daunting, especially if you're one of those people that charge a lot and you try to pay it off or you don't. Even the slightest charge. If someone, they usually do an ATM card or they'll steal your credit card information and they'll go make a small charge to see if it works, right? And once it works, they go back and they start charging all kinds of things till it gets denied or it hits the credit limit. We were having those pieces of equipment over either your gas pump or your ATM machine with a camera. You stuck your card in, it would read the strip on your card, and the camera would record you punching in your PIN. So we actually made an arrest a couple years back up at the Jefferson Valley Mall at the ATM up there. One of the officers, we learned about this trick, and the officer went in to check the ATM machine, and she actually found it attached to the machine, so we kind of backed off. We waited. Sure, it's going to be a guy came up and took the device off the ATM machine, and we arrested him. I didn't say much of anything, but he was not from here.
Oh.
So that's happening. All right. It goes on and on and on. So I didn't introduce myself. My name is Tom Nadorsky. I'm a detective here in Yorktown. I've been a police officer for 34 years. Not all here in Yorktown, but I love it here. I'm going to stay here forever until he kicks me out.
Good for you. Great place. Great place.
So myself and 5 other detectives, we handle all the criminal investigations, the serious criminal investigations, identity thefts, and scams that usually come into the station. People call us every day about a phone call they received, or someone took over control of their computer and all of a sudden ended up in their bank account. I'll have some advice for you at the end. If you remember anything, just remember those tips towards the end. So some of the things that we have, the latest one we have was a distraction scam. I don't know if you guys read that article in the paper where a woman went into the bank. A man followed her in. We got the video. He just stood in line and watched her take out a cash withdrawal from the teller. Right? Who goes to the bank and does that still? ATMs?
Never. No.
Go to the teller. All right? You get cash. That's the 2 places you can go for the most part. Right? So he watched her take out a significant amount of cash. She walked out to her car. As she was getting into her car, she put her purse in the car, and then a female came up and distracted her and said, "Oh, hey, someone threw something down behind your tires. If you drive away, you're going to get a flat tire." So she was a bit distracted and distraught, went back to see what was going on behind her car. As she turned and walked away, you see the male just go right in
Take her
and
purse.
take the envelope that the money was in, not the purse. So he knew exactly what to take. So it's a distraction scam, right? That was one. Then a gentleman over at Uncle Giuseppe's in the parking lot, someone tried to come up and do something with his necklace and his wristwatch. And you guys see that story? No. Yeah, just distracted him, was able to snatch it right off his person and replace it with a fake one.
Oh, boy.
Very, very good, very well done, sleight of hand type stuff. And he didn't know it till he got home. That was all fake jewelry. And Ed Lackerman told me that his wife just got a scam attempt yesterday where someone called from the cable company and said, if you don't pay for the DVR, we're going to cut your service off. So they wanted her to pay for it immediately. The DVR is a digital recording device in your house so you can tape your shows. Like the old days, you can tape it, but it's digital. So they threatened to shut off her cable if she didn't pay right away. So cable, electricity, any of the utility stuff, if someone threatens you that way, hang up on them, and who's the first person you call? The utility company, right? Confirm it yourself that way. No one should be threatening you to shut off anything over the phone. Usually, if it's the first phone call, they usually ask you to pay your bill. They don't threaten to turn you off or anything like that. How about the grandparent scam?
Oh.
Remember that one, right? That's a chuckle, right? Your grandkid's arrested in Mexico and hurt somebody in a car accident, and the kid gets on, sounds just like your grandchild. It's not them. We don't pay bail. We don't accept bail through gift cards. So you laugh, but you'll be surprised how many hundreds of thousands of dollars just Yorktown residents have lost to that scam. They go to CVS because they're in fear they're going to be arrested by the IRS, or their grandson's never going to get out of jail, and they have to pay the bail with gift cards. Think about it. It sounds ridiculous, right?
But it's true.
But the story is so believable, and the person they speak to on the other end of the phone sounds just like their grandchild, who's crying and in tears, and it scares the grandparent enough to do that. All right? So just be aware of that. If anybody's demanding your ID or identity like that in a public place, don't give it to them. If you're at the bank or whatever, if you're applying for something, that's different, but because you initiated that contact. If a stranger initiates contact with you, unfortunately today we have to be suspicious.
Yeah.
All right, and that's the sad thing about it. But you folks are the biggest losers in money. in so many ways, not just your cash, your retirement accounts, your Social Security accounts, your properties, all that stuff. So just be mindful of any of that thing. So I don't know how long I have up here.
We have one more,
A few more minutes? All right, good. I got a lot to go over. So the FBI kind of monitors all of this. There's some websites on there that you can go look at and check out the latest scams and fraud attempts and things like that. Spoofing. You know what spoofing is?
No.
Spoofing is you look up your caller ID and it says Yorktown Police Department and it has our phone number on it. It's not the Yorktown Police Department. They're asking for a donation over the phone. Maybe it's the Chiefs Association. I think that's more common. They do utilize a call service. Yorktown PBA does not. Even though I gave you those nice pens, feel free to donate anytime.
Let me
Yes,
tell her.
ma'am, go.
Detective, I got one last week, and it was a really funny one. On email, it says, Serafina and Lou, you are invited to my Christmas party, December 6th, at the Grace Building. So,
That's right, yeah.
so I answered, and I said, well, I didn't go all the way down. I said, oh, sure. No, Serafina and Lou would be glad to attend. I go further, and it says donate. And I'm saying, I got to donate to a Christmas party? So I immediately just deleted it.
Did you find out if that was?
I don't know. I called Michael twice, and he hasn't gotten back to me. I might just go over. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never heard of that. I
Yeah,
mean, nobody would
we
ask
actually
for
do it for
donate.
ours. For our Christmas party, you can do the barcode and
Okay.
scan and pay Venmo or pay PayPal through the
Right.
barcode. So
Yeah.
it depends. If like you did a great job, you didn't know who it was from, or you weren't certain who it was from.
Erased it.
So you just confirm
Right.
who it is. Speaking of emails, it's okay to open up the email, but it's the attachments that you want to
Yes.
be careful of, right?
Right.
Because those things are what's put viruses in your computer, shut you down. What they do is they'll attack your computer. The message will go back to the bad guy, so to speak, and say, okay, this person just opened the attachment. That person will now call and say, I'm from IBM. I understand you have a problem with your computer
Yeah.
because your computer just shut down. All right, leave your computer open. I'm going to need access to your computer. Just give me your login password or whatever. And you don't think that people would fall for that, but they're very, very
We did
convincing.
at the business, my
Yep.
husband's business.
And next thing you know, your mouse is bouncing all over the
Well,
place. You lose control.
They blocked at Reliable Oil. And I remember Sergeant Graham came. We called him. This is a couple of years ago. And we had to get our computer man to come and clean out the whole thing.
Yep.
Because we couldn't get in.
Yep.
And they wanted $250
Yeah.
to get in.
And once
which-
you say, well, it's easy, just you can transfer from your bank account.
Oh, yeah.
Then what do? You open up your bank account. Then they lock out your computer, and you're done.
Right.
They just transfer everything out from it. So back to the spoofing, you'll get something like that. You'll see like it's from your neighbor or something like that when it's not. So you got to be very careful. If you don't recognize the number, I wouldn't even answer the phone nowadays. And even if you do recognize the number, that's not necessarily who's going to be at the other end of the phone. Unfortunately, it is the world we live in. So
Detective, is those cards that they're selling now block anybody taking it from our information from our credit card? Do they work?
Yes, the credit card slips into it, right? And it protects the information on your credit card. There's a device. If I get close enough to you, I'll walk right by you, and my device will scan his credit card, and it'll pick up all the information that's on that credit card: his name, the expiration date, your security code, and the barcode.
Really?
So yes, they have those. Those are cheap. You can go on Amazon and buy them for a few
Yes,
dollars.
but what I don't understand, I looked on it today. It said something about put it in the middle. The middle of what? Your wallet? Or do you have to buy one for each credit card?
Yes.
You have to buy one single one for
You
each
have one?
credit card?
Do you have one?
Yeah, your driver's license comes in them now. Your driver's license come in them now.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know.
Okay.
The real ID thing came in.
Yeah, because they have barcodes on it as well with all your information.
You can buy a pocketbook that's got the RFID
Yes.
block.
You can buy wallets, you can buy
Is that
pocketbooks.
okay?
That's fine.
That's fine.
If you buy one individual one, that's for one individual card.
Well, I couldn't figure it out on
Say, put it in the
Amazon.
middle, they're saying
I
put it in
didn't know
the
anything
middle,
about it.
in the pocket
Yes.
of that device.
All right,
So-
don't miss out this one.
Yep,
My dear friend back there gave this to me years ago,
great.
and this is only one.
See, that's what he's saying.
Fit one in there
Yeah.
probably. If you can fit,
But
if
I
they're
have-
made for a couple, that's fine,
I
but,
only
you
use
know.
one.
Yeah, but she
No, it
gave this
doesn't
to
work.
me years ago.
No, but I only use one credit card.
Oh,
You gave me this years ago.
My whole purse is already.
me too. Oh, no, I don't have
I
that.
only use one credit card. That's all.
So a couple more I want to go over with you guys, and I'll let you go. The caregiver fraud.
Get 'em because I want one.
Caregiver, that's not the means just the people that come into your house that you don't know, or a family member that you don't know. It's your own family. So if you are caring for someone or have an elderly parent or a sibling that you're caring for, protect them. Take their stuff, hide it, put it in a safe somewhere. If you are an executor of their estate or whatever, you have every right to do that. So we've caught people, camera, if you can afford a camera to put in if you're at, like, it was a countryside over here on Baldwin Road. The family was not in the area, so they put a camera on the shelf, and every time there was motion, the camera would come on and record the room. Those rooms, there's just a one room, right? So it record it. So there was people in there who were making repairs to every room, and as soon as they came, the room owner had to get out while they were repairing the air conditioning unit. And what they did was they came in the room, they immediately started rifling through all her stuff. They took jewelry and cash, and everything was caught on camera. So luckily, that family did that. That's a great idea. If you have someone who's in a facility like that, or a home like that, that would be a good idea. It's relatively inexpensive to do. Just one camera if there's one room for them. If not, just people over there now, they carry everything with them all day long. All
Yes.
their jewelry, all their money, they carry it with them all day long because now they're all scared.
Of course.
So be careful of, and family is worse. They steal from their relatives, especially their elder relatives, all the time. So just be careful of that. Warning signs for that. If you're in charge, then check bank accounts, see if there's withdrawals that you don't recognize, things like that. If there's papers lying around that have signatures on it that you're not familiar with, things like that. So anybody wants to change a trust or a will or something like that, be on top of those things as well. Social Security scam, that's been around for a while. Scammers pretending to be a familiar organization or agency like the Social Security Administration. They'll email you attachments and things like that. They'll look very, very official. Just be careful of that. If you wanted to do something with your Social Security, call yourself. Call yourself. Yes, ma'am.
I helped my mom, who's elderly. I found out that a magazine company had renewed her subscription for 4 years, and the renewal was like $800.
Oh, my God.
3 separate bank account statements.
Oh, my gosh.
That they renewed her and then renewed her for the year after that at a much, for a magazine she originally did, The New Yorker.
Yep.
But at a much higher level, hundreds of dollars in 3 different segments over 3 consecutive.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a lot of money.
Had to everyone's attention, be very careful
Yeah.
when a magazine company calls you.
Yeah, and who uses Amazon online?
I don't
Ever shop
anymore.
on
I
Amazon
do.
online? Sometimes when you buy stuff, you buy it at a lower rate. You don't realize it's a subscription.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not really a scam, but the bad guys are taking it to a different level where they're using it for other things now. Oh, just buy this one-time purchase.
Right.
Next thing you know, in the fine print of the 80-page terms of agreement, it says,
Every
you're
3
signing up
months
for a
or
5-year plan that's now $600, $800 a year. So no one reads those things. No one does.
I don't
Tommy?
read them.
So, what we're talking about, but the elderly are the ones that are being targeted. I don't know what else. Is there anything else that we can do? What happens to an elderly person who's home alone? I mean,
When it comes to what?
anything. If
People
they don't
knocking
go,
on your door, people
Yeah.
calling you on the phone, people getting to you on your computer. Those are the three main ways that they're going to come at you. Front door, phone, and computer.
Okay.
They're going to come at you those ways. So if you're very careful about who you talk to and what information you give people, don't believe everything you read, right? Don't believe everything you hear over the phone, all right? Do what you did. If there's a question you have something about your bank account, hang up and call your bank directly.
Right.
I don't answer the phone if I.
If it's Social Security calling, they're not calling you.
Right.
They're not going to call you. Go ahead, sir.
Can I add one?
Yeah, add away.
When you do a home improvement loan,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
to one of the companies like Franciosa or one of the other companies, make sure that you read the contract very carefully, because they have a 3-day clause that if you don't do anything at the end of 3 days, trying to cancel it,
Right.
it goes through.
Mhm.
You put down a deposit, that deposit's gone, because the company's not gonna give it back to you.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
I'm in that situation now.
Okay.
3 days to
Nothing you can
cancel.
do about it. They
It's
got
very
you
hard.
there from a Maryland company,
Mhm.
they're in New York,
Mm.
and it's $2,500 deposit that I can't get back.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, you're supposed to have notifiers within 3 days.
Yeah.
So we do ourselves.
Yep.
I shot myself in the foot.
Well, if they have enough complaints about that, then they can be
Better business
ordered
Bureau-
to tell
Business
future
Bureau's running out of
customers.
spaces.
Right. They can be ordered to tell customers
If
like,
it's
oh,
a-
by the way, you have 3 days.
Yeah,
At least
right.
do that. Because if more and more people complain, then yeah.
Most companies will do that. Whenever you sign a contract, they'll tell you that you have 3 days to
Most.
change your mind. If
That's
you don't
right.
change it within 3 days, that's it.
And you, at the end of the time, you're liable for the
Yes.
whole thing if you
Right.
cancel it.
Well, they
Certainly, the
yeah.
pandemic has changed all the rules of the game
Mhm.
because they're desperate for customers
Right,
too
right.
that can pay or not pay. So,
Well, I
you
think
asked me
it's-
how not to be a victim, right? What
Yes.
can we do? All right, there are some things that we can do. In your case, you get a document like that, that's a significant amount of money. Have an attorney. I know they cost money to review your documents for you, but it's better to have them charge you $300 or $400 to look it over than to lose $2,500 or $25,000 or $250,000, which has happened to some of the victims in town. A significant amount. So any legal documents, don't sign anything until you talk to an attorney, have them look it over. They'll know what to look for, right? If you have a good attorney who's well-versed in that stuff, they'll know what to look for. Check your financial statements for any unusual activity. Nowadays, everybody who banks on their phone. A lot of people do. Some people don't still. Those of us that do can check. I can check my bank statement and take me 30 seconds to look at it, right? Or I can set my bank to alert me. If I go to the grocery store and I spend over $125, before I even pay for it, it gets cleared by the register. I get a text from my bank telling me there's been a purchase at the ShopRite or whatever.
Is that you?
So anything like that, that's pretty good. So make sure if you do have online banking or in a smartphone, make sure you sign up for those alerts. All right. Any withdrawals out of ATMs, the same thing. Set a low amount. That's okay. I'd rather get notified every time I do it,
Right.
or I don't have it. So those of you that don't have it, how often do you get to check your bank statements when they come in the mail? Once a month? Right? Sure.
Check it.
Get it that way. It's tedious, and if you can get somebody on the phone, But yeah, just be aware of that. Check your statements for unusual activity and things like that. If there's sometimes with a large credit card, if you have any credit cards, contact those companies and tell them that if there's a purchase of over a certain amount, make sure you notify me before you approve it. Because I've had my debit card stolen. I wasn't physically stolen, but the identity off my debit card was stolen 3 times in the past 2 years.
I believe that.
So once I call or I make a complaint, they cut my debit card off immediately. Now I don't have a debit card to use, and I have to wait like 3 or 4 weeks before a new one comes. So, you can do it many different ways with your financial institutions. Give them a call because they'll have advice for you on what to do with your bank accounts and your credit cards and debit cards.
Wait, you said you had your credit card, but the information.
That's
was
right.
stolen?
You go to the restaurant and you pay with your credit card, right? Who do you give it to?
Yeah, you're giving it to a stranger.
A waiter, right? A stranger. What's on that credit card?
Everything.
Information.
Your name, your card number, your expiration date, and your social, and your 3-digit security code. If you ever bought anything online, that's all you really need other than the address, right? So, so be careful that they can get.
They also say when you check into a hotel and you get your room, I don't know how true this is because I always rip them up. When you get your door key, the card, that there's a lot of information on that card about you also, and never just leave it there. When you leave, either you turn it on or you just rip it up, because there's a lot of information on that card.
Yeah, but they want that back.
Most of them will charge
Just
you
say
if,
you're
if you don't give it back.
You have
Well,
to
give it back to the clerk, but I mean, don't let anybody else pick it up.
No,
Well,
right.
we don't know
You gotta
that.
give it
Yeah.
back, but they'll hopefully they'll
Right,
clear it,
right, but
things
they
like
say there's
that.
a lot of information on
So
that
like your
card.
car, your car, who's got a USB port in their car, and they
Yeah.
charge their phone or use
Right.
a GPS on it, right?
Right,
Everything that's on your phone is now in your car,
right.
right? So if
Don't
someone
have it.
steals your car, like a rent-a-car, if you have a rent-a-car, I highly suggest you don't plug your phone into
Wow, that's
the
a good
USB
thing.
Didn't know
port,
that.
right? Buy the cigarette lighter charger.
Do not.
Right, remember those, the cigarette lighters? They're still in most cars. Buy that cigarette lighter charger, throw it in a cigarette lighter, and use that energy to power your phone. I know you want the big GPS screen to show you where to go, but once you plug into that car,
Wow.
all that information is going to be absorbed into it, especially like your home address,
Do not
things
use
like
the
that.
GPS.
So just be careful of that.
Plug it into the
It
USB.
could go on for a long time about cars. Are we all locking our cars
Yes.
at night? Are we not leaving our
port.
purses
Okay.
and
Yes.
guns and whatnot in our front seat overnight?
Okay.
It happens all the time, and a police officer just 2 days ago in his own house, in his own driveway, forgot to lock his car and had hundreds of dollars sitting in there, and it was stolen. Just bad luck. Who knew?
Yeah.
So please, 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 lock your cars. Don't leave anything in it. They pretty much won't break into it, like break the window. We get on video every other day. And now I was watching one the other night from, I forget what street it is in town, but 2 kids got out of a car. The car kept rolling down the street. There was a driver in it. The kid walks up. One guy does this with his sleeve to do the handle. The other guy had a rag in his hand. And he was lifting the door handle up with the rag because he knows we're going to come for fingerprints and DNA evidence because they watch too much TV. But that's exactly what we'll do. So they know how to combat that by committing crimes. And as soon as the light went on, the Ring camera went off, they don't care.
They don't.
Because it's 3 o'clock in the morning. None of us are going to wake up to the Ring camera going off. The light came on, and they tucked the doors, and off they went.
Oh.
They didn't get into the car. They just went on to the next house on the block.
Oh my God.
So, well, it's pretty easy, actually.
Especially when you leave your keys
You
in the car.
can, you do, like the Kias now, there's a thing going around on the internet about the Kia Santa Fe, how they could get it. Once they get in the car, they use a screwdriver to pop off the cover of the key holder, and they can start the car and drive away. It's just a defect of the manufacturer. They can do that. But the kids now are going to automotive school to circumvent just that. Because if I lose my key fob, someone has to make me another one.
Right.
So if I go to somewhere to teach me how to make a key fob, so that has happened a few times in town where the car was stolen. The owner's like, but I have my key fob. It doesn't matter. If they have a computer with them, they can start your car up if they know what they're doing. They know what they were doing because they knew the GPS was in the roof underneath the cloth. They cut the roof, pulled the cloth out, threw it on a street down in the Bronx. We tracked the GPS, and we drove it right to that device on the city street down in the Bronx. So it never ends, but yeah.
Well, do we have any more questions for our?
I have a couple more advice things too.
Yeah,
Go ahead, ma'am. If you go to a reputable company, you go to FTD or you're on Amazon or you go to Macy's or whatever, you go into big companies that you searched for, right, online, not someone sent you an email and there was an attachment to Macy's, right, and you didn't know who that email came from, I don't recommend that. So if you're going to go shopping somewhere, go to some that you're familiar with, right? Those big companies have very secure websites, and the information is fairly safe with them too. So that being said, there's a Connecticut insurance company, medical company, that 120,000 people's identity were stolen off their server. nothing safe, nothing safe, but that's the way to do it. Go to someone who's reputable. Do you have a question?
I belong to Northwell. Do we call 911 or the non-emergency?
Just call non-emergency call for us. If it's an attempted scam, call us, let us know, so we know what's going on, and we can educate the public somehow on it if we can, and we're familiar with it. Some of the times, one of the things was someone sending a courier to your house to get the money that you're going to pay for bail or whatever. There was a couple of scams like that. We've actually made a few arrests on that, where the courier was coming. So we went into the person's house, the phone calls were made, we coaxed them to the house, the guy pulls up, and it's an Uber driver. The Uber driver has no clue. He just got paid to go to your house to pick up a package to bring it to some place down in Brooklyn. That guy has that's what they do. That's what Uber drivers, that's part of their responsibility too, is just pick up packages and move them around like that. And he had no clue. And it's all done on an app, so they have no idea who requested them. And even if we subpoena records through Uber, we get nothing. We get nothing. So, yes, ma'am.
On many occasions, I've gotten emails from FedEx, UPS, and Amazon, but each time that I noticed there was a Russian letter in
Yes.
the name,
Good.
I know that that's a fake.
That's right. I get text messages from them all the time. My package is ready, however, it's stuck at the warehouse.
Yeah. The print is small.
Yeah.
And you really have
to
be
read.
vigilant to watch that you're getting something with an actual letter in it that's not American. It's Russian
Right.
or something else.
Yes. Yes. One sec, sir. So keep track during the holiday season. If you're an online shopper, just keep track of who you ordered from, when you're expecting it, that kind of thing, because this is the season they're going to come at you with those emails, those phone calls, those text messages, right? And packages on your porch that are going to get ripped off too. So just be aware that that's a big thing that we're trying to combat as well.
Okay, we'll ask for a couple more questions.
I just offer a comment that my approach is, and I get a ton of texts, a ton of emails. We're in real estate and we answer everything, phone calls in particular.
Right, you have to.
Answer your phone. Verify. That's the only thing I would recommend to people. If you get a text, if you get an email,
Delete
don't
it.
respond to it, don't open anything, pick the phone up and verify with whoever, if it's the bank.
That's right.
If it's Amazon, go on your Amazon account.
Right,
That's right.
right.
Don't respond to the email or text message.
No,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
We have one more over here.
The other thing I've gotten are calls. It's a number that looks like a Yorktown number. I answer the phone, hello. They say, who is this?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I say, well, who were you calling?
Right.
And they hang up.
Yeah.
Right.
They want your name.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they're also, I'm getting a great deal of mail and phone calls and emails that they want to buy my house. There is a company out there that tries to buy houses.
Do they have their telephone number here?
Yeah.
So don't be tempted to sell your house to someone.
Right.
I'm gonna.
Because you're going to find out that it's below market.
Right.
And
Yeah. If you want to do anything, again, unsolicited, things like that, mail, email, phone calls, just be careful who you're talking to. Don't give any personal information and move on. Especially if you have a doubt where that phone call is coming from, right? You think it's Yorktown and then you hear like a beep and then you're in a call center somewhere. That's India or Africa, somewhere like that. And the FBI keeps arresting hundreds and hundreds of people. It doesn't matter. It won't stop. So
Phil,
just be
you
aware.
had one more
Yes,
one
ma'am.
more question here.
Thank you for all your help and guidance.
Okay.
But I have a question that is really related in some way. We have been hearing and reading about Yorktown being the safest in the United States. And that's good news, but
Great news.
how do they determine that? Do you know?
It would be by our crime statistics, and it would go by different types of crimes, different levels of crime, whether it be violent crimes, murder, robbery, serious assaults, things like that, as opposed to property crimes, petty crimes, things like that. So
Would it be the safest?
it goes by the number of people. It's
Let's-
the number
let's
of
take
people
their
that live in
word
the
for it.
town, the size of the town, and what the crime reports say. So it's a combination of all those things that someone dubbed us the safest city in America, and that will definitely go towards contract
I think
negotiations.
we've
Okay,
done it.
last.
I think we've done it. Thank
Oh,
you.
one
Have
last,
something else?
don't be a victim.
Okay.
Right, so we went to financial institutions, your statements for unusual activity, avoid unsolicited contacts, right? Never give your financial or personal information to someone that you don't know. And very importantly, if you're not sure, seek some advice from someone that you're trusted, family or a friend, or certainly just give us a call. My name is, and my phone number, and I believe my email is on there. You can always reach out to me. It's on page 2.
Oh, your number's there?
I believe.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Is
Yay!
it there? My name and my number. Please
Yay.
don't hesitate to call me.
Thank you.
My email's not there, but you can call me anytime, leave me a message. I will get back to you.
I have your name on the agenda. I
Very
can't
good.
pronounce it, but I have it.
Right.
Right, Nodorsky.
Nodorsky.
Any other questions? Anything I can answer outside of the scams or whatnot? So, if you guys know, Davin was talking about the medics and the ambulance people responding, but 99% of the time, the police officers are going to get there first.
Yes, yes.
We are trained in first aid, CPR, the AED,
Yes.
Narcan, cuts and bruises. If you have a raccoon
Oh.
hiding in your trash can, we come for that too. We do it all here, so don't hesitate to call. We'll come when we can, as fast as we can.
Thank you, thank you.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone. Nice meeting you all. Thank you. All right. Good luck with that.
I have, do you want to?
All right, well, before we adjourn the meeting, we just have a couple of more people that need to give you some information. Maria Farmer has some information that she'd like to give to you.
Yes,
Maria?
please. Ladies.
All right, go ahead.
Last month, Dr. Hatter, who is the superintendent of the Yorktown School District.
Maria, talking to them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Got to hear my sweet voice, right, Jenny? Okay. Well, anyway, Dr. Hatter came, and he spoke to you, and we have become very good friends. So, I just received these last night, but I was aware of it prior to. You please take them down, because I don't have enough to put out. On Thursday, December 21st, at 8:30 in the morning, Yorktown Central School District, Yorktown High School, room 168. Please come to the front entrance of the administrative building. They're going to have, Dr. Hatter would like to invite you to a light breakfast. Now, we've done this before. Some of us have been there. And because of COVID, we had stopped it. And he said he was going to start it again in the spring. Well, in talking, he said no, he wants to do it now. So the date, again, is December 21st at 8:30, and it will be ending about 10. Now, please, you will need to respond for this event, or can email or call. Now, if you're interested, I can give you first the phone number. This is to his secretary. 243-8001, area code 914. Again, area code 914-243-8001. If you want to email, all lowercase, no spaces, EPARYS@yorktown.org. Okay? That would be the email. And I've already given you the phone number. Again, 914-243-8001. This is for the Yorktown Central School Districts. All are invited. It's lovely. It's very nice. A few of us were there. And he's a remarkable man. And all of you know of him agree, I'm sure. Okay, thank you for listening. If you need me to tell you anything else, I would gladly do it. But that's all the information I have now. You will not be disappointed if you can.
Thank you, Maria, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone, Joe, did you want to say anything to anybody? Are you okay?
Well, the supervisor alluded to the electric lights parade that the Parks Department has. It's December 2nd, I believe, Jim? Saturday. Starts at about 5 p.m. Looking for everybody to be there. It's a beautiful, beautiful event.
Noreen, are you okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we want to wish you, anybody else?
Jim was back there. Jim Martello.
Oh, Jim, do you have anything to say to our people today? Okay, I don't want to forget you. Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming. Again, thanking the hospital for their lunch. And please have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. And remember, we'll see you in December. The date is different. The date is December the 8th. It's the second Friday of the month, not the third Friday. I know some people are busy talking, and I don't know if they heard my message, but the date is the second Friday of the month instead of the third Friday of the month for our next meeting. Okay, so have a happy, remember to lock your doors. Remember not to put your mail in your mailbox. Bring it down to the post office because they are removing mail from the mailbox. So have a happy Thanksgiving.